Ambassador Crystal stood before the massive holographic display in the Galactic Council chamber. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he reviewed the data one more time. The numbers had to be wrong. They simply had to be. "Run the analysis again," he ordered his assistant, a small furry creature named Vila who served as his data specialist. Vila's whiskers twitched nervously. "Ambassador, I have run it 17 times. The results are the same. Earth is the most successful Deathworld in recorded galactic history." The chamber fell silent. Representatives from over 300 species sat in their designated seats, each one processing this information. Some gasped. Others made sounds of disbelief. A few simply stared at the hologram showing the small blue planet rotating slowly in the center of the room. Counselor Thresh, a tall insectoid being with gleaming black chitin, rose from her seat. "Explain to this council what you mean by most successful. We all know Earth is a death world, but how can any death world be called successful?" Crystal cleared his throat. "Counselor, the galactic records define a death world as any planet with a survival difficulty rating above 7.5. Earth's rating is 9.8. Murmurs spread through the chamber. "That is nearly a perfect score," someone called out. "How is that possible?" "The planet has extreme temperature variations across its surface," Crystal explained, pulling up charts. "Its star bombards it with harmful radiation. The atmosphere contains oxygen at toxic levels. The planet experiences violent weather events including massive rotating storms, electrical discharges from the sky, and ground-shaking seismic events. Its seas contain predators of enormous size. Even the smallest life forms, invisible to the eye, can kill in countless ways." He took a breath. And yet humans did not merely survive on this world. They became its dominant species. They spread across every continent. They built cities in deserts, jungles, frozen wastelands, and mountain peaks. They learned to fly through their poisonous atmosphere and dive deep into their monster-filled oceans. And now they have reached the stars. Elder Morath, the ancient tree-like being who served as council speaker, extended a gnarled branch. "Continue, Ambassador." "The reason Earth is classified as the most successful death world is not simply because it is deadly. Many planets are deadly. It is because the dominant species not only survived but thrived. Humans evolved to be the perfect deathworld species. They are persistent predators who can chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. They can survive wounds that would kill most other sentient species. They bond with other species, including predators, and make them allies. They consume ethanol, a substance we use as fuel for pleasure." A delegate made a choking sound. "They drink fuel on purpose." "Yes, and they consider it a social activity." "But here is the most remarkable part," Crystal continued. "Despite all of this, humans are not monsters. Yes, they have wars among themselves, but they also have art, music, literature, and philosophy. They care for their young with great devotion. They form deep emotional bonds. They feel compassion for other species and risk their own lives to save creatures they have never met." Counselor Thresh clicked her mandibles. "This seems contradictory. How can beings from such a violent world be capable of gentleness?" "That is what makes them unique. They contain both extremes. The same human who would fight to the death to protect their family might spend their free time growing flowers or composing music." Elder Morath leaned forward. "And this is why you have called this emergency session." "No, Elder," Crystal's voice grew serious. "I have called this session because the humans have made first contact with the Vrexian Empire." The chamber went completely still. The Vrexians were the most feared conquering force in the galaxy. For thousands of years, they had swept across star systems, enslaving or exterminating every species in their path. They were massive creatures, standing 3 meters tall, with thick armor-like skin and claws that could tear through metal. They respected only strength and viewed all other species as prey. "When did this happen?" Morath asked. 3 standard days ago. A human colony ship encountered a Vrexian patrol vessel near the outer reach. Then the humans are dead, Counselor Thresh said flatly. The Vrexians do not negotiate, they simply attack. Yes, Crystal agreed. The Vrexians attacked, the humans fought back, and the humans won. Silence filled the room. One colony ship, Crystal said slowly, with approximately 2,000 humans aboard, including children and elderly, defeated a Vrexian patrol vessel carrying 500 trained warriors. Impossible, someone whispered. The colony ship was called the New Hope. It was not a military vessel. It carried farmers, teachers, engineers, and families. When the Vrexians boarded, the humans did something no species has ever done. They fought back with everything they had. They used tools as weapons. They set traps. They worked together in ways the Vrexians had never encountered. When it was over, every single Vrexian warrior was dead. He let that sink in before adding the final detail. The humans suffered 43 casualties, 43 out of 2,000, and according to their own reports they are angry, not afraid, angry, because the Vrexians killed 43 of their people, including 7 children. Elder Marath's branches trembled. What do they intend to do? They have sent a message to the Vrexian Empire. Would you like to see it? He activated the recording. A human female appeared in the hologram. She had dark hair and darker eyes, and her face was marked with cuts and bruises from recent combat. My name is Captain Sarah Chen of the colony ship New Hope, the woman said. Her voice was calm but carried an edge of cold fury. You attacked our ship, you killed our people, you killed our children. We have sent this message so there is no misunderstanding about what happens next. We are not prey, we are not slaves. We are humans, and we are coming for you. Every ship you send, we will destroy. Every world you hold, we will free. You wanted war with humanity. You have it. And you will learn what every predator on our homeworld learned long ago. Humans do not run. We fight. And we do not stop until the fight is over. The recording ended. Finally, Counselor Thresh spoke. The Vrexian Empire has existed for 10,000 years. They have never been defeated. No, Crystal agreed. But they have never faced a Deathworld species before. They have never faced humans. What should we do? Crystal looked around the chamber at the representatives of 300 species, all of whom had lived in fear of the Vrexians for generations. I suggest that we watch, and perhaps, for the first time in galactic history, we hope. The news of the New Hope incident spread across the galaxy faster than any starship could travel. Reactions varied widely. Some species thought the humans were insane. The Vrexians had millions of warriors and thousands of warships. What could a few thousand humans hope to accomplish? Others felt something they had not experienced in centuries: hope. On Earth, the government received the news with a mixture of pride and concern. Admiral James Morrison stood in the command center of Earth Defense Command, studying star maps. Sir, his aide said nervously, our analysis suggests the Vrexians have at least 5,000 warships. We have 47. I can count, Lieutenant. What else do we know about them? They're big, sir. Average height around 3 meters, heavily armored skin, strong enough to tear through doors with their bare claws. They're cunning and utterly ruthless. When they conquer a world, they either enslave the population or wipe it out entirely. Weaknesses? Unknown, sir. No species has ever successfully fought them. Morrison nodded. Then we'll find their weaknesses ourselves. Begin mobilization. I want every shipyard working around the clock, and get me in touch with Captain Chen. 3 days later, a communication link was established with the New Hope. Captain Sarah Chen appeared on the screen, her wounds treated but still looking exhausted. Admiral Morrison, I assume you're calling to discuss our situation. I want to hear it from you directly. What happened out there? Chen took a deep breath. We were in the outer reach, sir. Standard colony run. We detected an unknown vessel approaching at high speed. They didn't respond to communication. They just latched on and cut through our hull in 3 places. They killed everyone in the initial breach points within seconds. And then we fought back. We're colonists, admiral, farmers and builders and teachers, but we're also human. We're from Earth. Our ancestors survived ice ages, famines, plagues, and wars. They didn't survive all that so we could die cowering in corners. Tell me about the fighting. It was chaos at first. We retreated to inner sections and sealed bulkheads. Then we organized. The engineers set traps using chemicals from the hydroponics lab. We used the ship's architecture against them, forcing them into choke points where their size worked against them. Chen paused. One of our engineers rigged an improvised explosive. When a Vrexian tried to break through his section, he detonated it, killed himself and 12 of them. Another colonist, a grandmother, emptied a fire suppression system into a Vrexian's respiratory openings. Turns out they don't like breathing carbon dioxide. You lost 43 people, Morrison said quietly. Yes, sir. 7 children, and every single one of them went down fighting. A 12-year-old boy threw a chemistry experiment in a Vrexian's face, blinded it long enough for his mother to beat it to death with a fire extinguisher. Morrison was silent for a moment. Captain Chen, you've shown the galaxy that the Vrexians can be beaten. With respect, sir, that's not enough. We killed 500 of them. They have millions more. This is just beginning. I know. The Galactic Council has offered to share their records on Vrexian tactics. I need someone to analyze that information. Someone who has actually faced them. Chen nodded. I'll do it, sir, but I have one condition. When we go on the offensive, I want to be there. I want to make them pay for what they did to our children. Morrison looked at the cold determination in her eyes. This was what humanity was. The ability to take grief and pain and transform it into purpose. You'll be there, Captain. You'll be there. Across the galaxy, in the throne room of the Vrexian Imperial Palace, Supreme Commander Varak received the news of his patrol vessel's destruction. He sat motionless as his subordinate delivered the report, his massive claws gripping the armrests hard enough to crack them. All 500 warriors dead, the subordinate said, trembling. Killed by prey animals, Supreme Commander. Tell me about these prey animals. They call themselves humans. Their world is classified as a Deathworld with a rating of 9.8. Varak's eyes narrowed. The Vrexians knew about Deathworlds. They avoided them, but they had never considered that a sapient species might evolve on such a world. How many of these humans exist? Approximately 8 billion on their homeworld, another 2 billion across colony worlds. Varak was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. This changes nothing. Send a fleet to destroy their colony ship, then send another fleet to burn their colonies, and then send our main armada to their homeworld and show them what happens to prey that forgets its place. As his subordinate scurried away, Varak smiled, showing rows of razor-sharp teeth. It had been a long time since he had faced a worthy enemy. Perhaps these humans would provide some entertainment before they were exterminated. The war had begun. 6 months passed. In that time, the humans did something no one expected. They prepared. While the Vrexians gathered their fleets, the humans mobilized on a scale the galaxy had never seen. Every shipyard worked continuously. Scientists developed new weapons, new defenses, new strategies. Military academies trained millions of recruits. And humanity did something else that puzzled observers. They shared. Weapons designs, ship blueprints, training programs, all were offered to any species that wanted them. Why are you doing this? Ambassador Crixtal asked Earth's representative, Ambassador Alina Price. This is your technology, why give it away? Price smiled. Because we're not trying to conquer the galaxy, we're trying to free it. The Vrexians are everyone's enemy. If other species want to fight back alongside us, why would we make it harder for them? But your advantage. Our advantage isn't in our technology. It's in our nature. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. That's not something that can be replicated in a lab. That's in our bones. Thought about his own people, the Threen, who had evolved on a gentle world. When the Vrexians had come to their system, the Threen had surrendered immediately. It had been the sensible choice. But now, watching the humans prepare for war, Crixtal wondered if there had been another choice, a harder choice. He requested a meeting with the Threen Council. On the bridge of the newly commissioned battleship Earth's Fury, Captain Sarah Chen reviewed intelligence reports. She had been promoted after the New Hope incident and assigned to the Second Fleet. She had spent months studying the Vrexians and reached a disturbing conclusion. They were not just conquerors. They were bullies. They had built their empire through sheer brutality and the willingness to commit atrocities. They didn't outfight their enemies. They terrified them into submission. It had worked because every species they encountered had the same response to overwhelming threat: surrender or flee. The concept of fighting to the death was simply not part of most species' evolutionary history. But it was part of humanity's history, deeply, fundamentally part of it. "Captain," her tactical officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from Admiral Morrison." Morrison's face appeared on screen. "Captain Chen, our scouts have detected a Vrexian fleet entering human space, 37 warships heading for the colony on New Eden." "Orders, Admiral." "Stop them. The Second Fleet will intercept. This is our first major engagement. We can't lose this one." "Understood, sir." As alarms blared and crew members rushed to their positions, Chen allowed herself one moment of doubt. Then she pushed it aside and became what she needed to be, a captain leading her people into battle. The Second Fleet consisted of 12 ships against 37 Vrexian warships. The humans had studied Vrexian tactics carefully. They knew the aliens preferred direct assaults, closing quickly to boarding range. They counted on their enemies' fear, their willingness to surrender. The humans planned to give them none of those things. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display as the two forces approached. The Vrexians came in fast, their typical attack formation: heavy vessels in front, smaller ones behind. "They're not even trying to be clever," her tactical officer observed. "Why would they? Their enemies always run or surrender." "All ships execute Plan Alpha, staggered retreat on my mark." The human ships fell back, creating distance. To the Vrexian commander, it must have looked like the humans were trying to flee. The Vrexians accelerated, eager to catch their prey, their formation spreading out. "Now execute Plan Bravo." The human fleet stopped retreating, split into 3 groups and curved back toward the Vrexians, targeting the gaps in their formation. A classic naval maneuver: divide and destroy. The Vrexian commander hesitated. That hesitation cost precious seconds. "Open fire." 12 human ships unleashed everything they had. The first volley destroyed 3 enemy ships and damaged 5 more. The Vrexians returned fire, but their weapons were designed for close-range combat. 1 human destroyer took damage but maintained capability. Second volley: focus fire on their flagship. The flagship was massive but presented a bigger target. Human missiles found their marks. Shields failed. The hull breached in multiple places. The flagship went dark. The battle continued for 3 hours. Human ships took damage. Crew members died. 1 destroyer was destroyed when 3 Vrexian vessels coordinated an attack. But at the end, 23 Vrexian ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining 14 retreated. Admiral Chen addressed the fleet. "All ships stand down from battle stations. Damage control is priority 1. Search and rescue is priority 2. We're not leaving anyone behind." They had done it. They had faced the Vrexians in open battle and won. It was just the beginning. But for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy had hope. The news spread fast. This time it wasn't just curiosity, it was inspiration. On dozens of worlds, species that had submitted to the Vrexians generations ago began to whisper. If the humans could win, perhaps they could too. On Threen Prime, Ambassador Crixtal addressed his people's governing council. For 300 years we have lived as vassals. We have told ourselves resistance was impossible. We were wrong. We were afraid, and we told ourselves stories to justify our fear. But the humans have shown us that fear is not the only option. The humans are from a death world, one council member protested. They are born fighters, we are not. No, but we can learn, we can adapt. The humans have offered to share their knowledge. All we have to do is accept. And if we fail? Thought about Captain Chen's declaration of war. Then we fail standing on our feet instead of succeeding on our knees. The council voted. The majority chose to stand. The Threen were not the only ones. Across the galaxy, species began to reconsider their relationship with the Vrexian Empire. Some openly allied with humans. Others began quiet resistance. The Vrexian Empire was facing not just an enemy, but an idea. And ideas were the most dangerous weapons of all. In the Imperial Palace, Supreme Commander Varrock received reports of spreading rebellion with growing fury. "Burn them all," he growled. "Every world that rebels, burn it. Every species that defies us, exterminate it." His advisor hesitated. "Supreme Commander, our forces are stretched thin. If we divide our forces to punish every rebellion, then we will be weaker against the humans, so we will do this properly. We will gather the largest fleet in Vrexian history. We will go straight to their homeworld and destroy it utterly. Every human will die. Every building will be reduced to ash. And then we will show the recording to every species in the galaxy. The rebellions will end, and we will be feared again." Varrock imagined the human homeworld burning. He had no doubt he would succeed. The Vrexians had always succeeded. The humans would learn this lesson, as all others had. 6 months later, the Vrexian Grand Fleet departed for Earth. 2,000 warships carrying over 1,000,000 warriors. The humans knew they were coming. Admiral Morrison addressed the combined military command. "This is it. If we stop them here, we break their power. If we fail..." The humans had 4 months to prepare. They used every second. Ships were rushed to completion. Weapons put into production. Training compressed into weeks. And they reached out to their allies. "We can't force you to fight," Ambassador Price told representatives of 27 species. "This is our war, but if you're willing to stand with us, we would be honored." Some declined, but others accepted. The Threen committed their entire fleet. The Vorn Collective sent ships. Even species with no military capabilities offered medical support and supplies. It wasn't much against 2,000 Vrexian warships, but it was something. It was a galaxy beginning to believe. The final battle took place in the Sol system. The Vrexian Grand Fleet emerged at the edge of the system. 2,000 warships. They expected a desperate enemy making its last stand. The human fleet numbered just over 200 warships, but they were arranged in defensive positions around Earth, using the moon and orbital installations as cover. And they were not alone. Alongside human vessels flew ships of a dozen different species, perhaps 50 ships total, but their presence sent a message. This was not humanity's war anymore. This was the galaxy's war. Supreme Commander Varrock felt uncertainty. He had expected fear. Instead, he was facing an enemy that looked ready. "All ships attack formation." Admiral Chen commanded the defense from her flagship, Earth's Hope. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. You know why we're here. Behind us is Earth, our home, our families. The Vrexians think we'll break like every species they've ever faced." She paused. "They're wrong. We're humans. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We didn't survive all that to be conquered by overgrown lizards with delusions of grandeur. A few chuckles came over the channel. Today we show the galaxy what humanity is made of. All ships engage for Earth, for humanity, for freedom. The human fleet surged forward. The battle lasted 3 days. The humans did not fight the way other species fought. They attacked from unexpected angles, retreated when pressed, counterattacked when the Vrexians overextended. They used terrain, asteroids, moons, installations, in ways the Vrexians had never encountered. When the Vrexians boarded human ships, they found humans who fought with savage ferocity. Corridors became killing grounds. Every compartment was defended. The Vrexian warriors were strong, but they were used to enemies who surrendered. The humans fought with tools, with weapons, with bare hands if necessary. They fought even when wounded, even when death was certain. On the second day, a Vrexian boarding party took control of the cruiser Defiant. They had missed one section where wounded humans had taken refuge. Among them was engineer Marcus Kim, who had lost his right arm. Despite his injury, he reached the self-destruct system. When the Vrexians tried to turn the ship against the human fleet, Kim activated it. The explosion destroyed the Defiant and 2 Vrexian ships. Marcus Kim became the first human to receive the Medal of Valor posthumously. He would not be the last. By the 3rd day, the Vrexian fleet had lost over half its ships. The humans had lost nearly as many, but they had reinforcements arriving. Damaged ships were repaired and returned. Civilian vessels carried supplies and evacuated wounded. And the allied species fought alongside them. The Threen discovered courage they didn't know they had. The Vorn found that fear could become fury. On his flagship, Varric watched his empire's might crumble. Supreme Commander, our losses exceed 60%. The humans show no signs of withdrawing. We cannot win this battle. Varric stared at the display. So many ships gone, so many warriors dead. We retreat, all ships withdraw. But as the Vrexians fled, something unexpected happened. The humans pursued. Admiral Chen watched the retreat. All ships capable of pursuit follow me. We're not letting them escape. Admiral, our ships are damaged. We've lost half our fleet. If we let them go, they'll come back. We have to end this now. The human fleet accelerated after the fleeing Vrexians, catching them at the system's edge where they had to slow for faster-than-light drives. The second phase was brief but decisive. Demoralized Vrexians fell apart. Ships surrendered, something Vrexians had never done. Others were destroyed. Varric's flagship was among the last to fall. The flagship is requesting communication, Chen's officer reported. Varric appeared on screen, wounded and bleeding, his bridge in flames. Human, you have won this battle, but the Vrexian Empire will never submit to prey animals. We will rebuild. No, Chen interrupted. You won't. Your empire is over, not because we defeated your fleet, because we showed the galaxy you can be defeated. Right now, on dozens of worlds, species are rising up. Your empire is burning. Nothing will put out those fires. Varric was silent, then he laughed. Perhaps you are right, but you have started something you cannot stop. You have shown that empires can fall. Someday, yours will fall too. We don't have an empire, we have friends, allies, partners. You thought strength was about domination, about fear, but real strength is about standing together, about building something worth fighting for. She paused. Goodbye, Supreme Commander. The communication ended. A moment later, so did his flagship. The war did not end with the Battle of Earth, but that was where it was decided. Over following months, the Vrexian Empire collapsed. Without their grand fleet, without their supreme commander, without belief in their invincibility, they could not hold their territories. Species that had been enslaved rose up. Vassal worlds declared independence. Humanity could have conquered what remained. Many expected them to. They didn't. Instead, they helped. They sent ships to protect newly freed worlds. They shared technology and resources. They mediated disputes. Why? Ambassador Crystal asked Admiral Chen during a ceremony commemorating the Battle of Earth. You could rule the galaxy. Why not take what you've earned? Chen thought for a long time. Because that's not who we are. Yes, we come from a death world. Yes, we evolved to be survivors and fighters. But we also evolved to work together, to protect families, to build communities, to create things that outlast us. She looked out at the stars. The Vrexians never understood that. They thought strength meant domination, but that's not survival. That's just a slower form of death. Real strength is building something that can grow, something that includes others, something that makes the galaxy better. Consider this. Your philosophers say no man is an island. I understand it better now. Chen smiled. We have another saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But I prefer, anyone who stands with us is our friend. That's what we're building, not an empire, a community, a galaxy where every species can thrive, where no one lives in fear. A beautiful dream. Maybe, but dreams are how everything starts. Come on, there's work to do. Years passed. The Vrexian Empire became a cautionary tale. The species they had conquered slowly healed, learned to trust each other. In the Galactic Council archives, the records were updated. Earth remained classified as a death world with rating 9.8, but a new entry was added. Despite originating from the most hostile habitable planet in known space, humans have proven remarkably social, cooperative, and altruistic. They form strong bonds with other species, share resources freely, and prioritize community welfare. While capable of extreme violence when threatened, their default state is curiosity, creativity, and compassion. The Galactic Council recommends all species treat humans as valuable partners in building a peaceful galaxy. Note: do not threaten their children. They do not respond well to this. Admiral Sarah Chen, now elderly but still sharp, read this during a visit to the archives. She laughed at the final note. They're not wrong, she murmured. Around her, representatives from dozens of species worked alongside humans. A young Threen scholar asked a human colleague for help with a translation. Vorn children toured the archives, marveling at records of their ancestors' courage. This was what they had fought for. A galaxy where different species could work together, learn from each other, build something better than any could build alone. She thought about the new hope, about those first terrifying hours. She thought about the thousands who had died, including 7 children on a colony ship that seemed like a lifetime ago. They would never be forgotten. Their sacrifice had made this moment possible. Somewhere new worlds were being discovered, new species contacted, new challenges waiting. Humanity was ready. They had come from a death world but chosen to bring life wherever they went. They had evolved to be predators but chosen to be protectors. They had every reason to be conquerors but chosen to be friends. That was the real secret of humanity's success. Not their strength, resilience, or adaptability. It was their choice. The constant choice to be better than their circumstances, to reach beyond mere survival, to build instead of destroy. The galactic records called Earth the most successful death world in known history. The humans called it home. And they would spend the rest of their existence making sure others could say the same about their own worlds, in a galaxy finally, truly free.